Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Paul with reporting live from my sofa. I hope y'all are doing great today. I'm doing pretty good here too. We are going to talk today about the final day, day 13 of the Rosenbaums saga. So without further ado, let's review. As I said, we're going to be discussing day 13, and this is going to encompass Jen's sister, yes, another sister, and the closing statements by the prosecution and the defense. So let's jump into it. Let's start off with Summer. This was performance art, in my opinion, her testimony. If you could think of a worse way to end your witnesses, your testimony to rest on, one of those could be Dr. Sperry, but if you wanted to just make an absurd joke out of your defense, you ended it with Summer. Let's just start with the first thing. When Mole gets up there and says, "Have the girls ever been punished for falling asleep in the car?" What? Has the girls ever been punished for falling asleep in the car? What? I've never heard some words like that put together in the same sentence. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm scared and frightened. That's how dramatic the sister was, y'all. I was looking at that, like, I literally was like this. I was like, I can't watch this. I can't watch it. I am so embarrassed for her, for the defense, for everyone. Even though I'm going for the rooting for the prosecution, obviously, I was so embarrassed. I was just like, no, they did not just do this. Obviously, she says she's never seen that. She acts like she literally doesn't even understand what the words are. And this girl's photographic memory of things that happened however long ago, it's absurd, it's ridiculous, and really that's it. I mean, she says it's so weird the way she talks. Yeah, well, we did this, the girls were fully clothed. Yeah. I mean, and you're just like, where is this coming from? I mean, I really can't even get there. I can't even get there. It's that bizarre. Then she shows some pictures. Mole shows her some pictures. Y'all, even the fake tears. I mean, it was performance art. I mean, I literally was like, that's it. Like, these people actually hate Jen. Like, they want to see her go to prison, and they're getting up here and trolling all of us. I mean, she was up there just... That's the jury sitting over there. So, it's like... It was like, I mean, it was that bad. If you watched it, you know what I'm talking about. So, the best part of this is the state gets up there, and the state has very few things to ask her. First things first, and this is where, I mean, it's not funny, but it's that absurd. The first thing that she asks is like, where did you spend the night last night? At Jennifer's. And you're like, what? That's like the last thing. I'm like, how like, where did you come from? I mean, I'm like, are you planted by the prosecution just to make them look that bad? And, and then she's like, and who did you ride to court today? With Jennifer, we had a flat tire. Is that okay? And at that point, I was like, we're being trolled. Where is the hidden camera? We are on candid camera, y'all. Somehow, the Sofa Squad is on camera. So, but don't y'all worry about that conflict of interest, because she did not talk to Jennifer at her house. She was down in the basement, and Jennifer wasn't there. And don't worry about the car ride to the courthouse, because she was on the phone. See, so they didn't talk. So no ma'am. Nope, they did not talk. So there's that. Then the best thing too was when the prosecution, the other young lady in the prosecution, I'm not sure of her name. I know Miss Young and I know Chase, but I don't know this lady's name. She asked about the daycare on Wednesday nights. Again, it's not funny, but it's the absurdity of it, the ridiculousness of it. Is, she's like talking about it. She's like, and what would you do if I told you that they don't have daycare on Wednesday nights? What? That's almost like that sentence you said at the very beginning. And I'm just like, this is just send her home. just send her home. I'm like, I hope you're not riding home with Jen and her husband. I would go call an Uber. Literally call an Uber. Because that's all you can do. You have thrown them under the bus so hard. So hard. So that's how they ended. The defense rested after that. I think after that, it's like, put this to an end. Just take it out back and kill it. I mean, literally, y'all. Like, just the whole thing. Throw the courthouse away at this point. This case should go down in history. I know people working on it will talk about it, because I've never seen a level of absurdity and ridiculousness from a defense team. I just haven't ever seen it. I mean, it's that bad. It is like B grade, horror films where it's just like, who made this? What is this, like a student film? I mean, I bet they see more legitimate things happen in law school and mock trials in the courtrooms that they do than this stuff. She's not making Emory and John Hopkins look good at all. That's where Mull got her degrees from. So there's that. So, I mean, they rest all that. So then, they go into the charge conference, there's all that, and then they get into the closing statements. And, the closing statements, and let me just get to my notes here, please hold. Okay, so this is what I have to say about some of the closing statements, just some notes and stuff. First of all, like I said, I really enjoy the prosecution on this thing. Probably one reason because I'm kind of going for them, but I just felt like there's a level of absurdity with Mull, and again, I'm not sure if she was forced to write, like if she was assigned to them, or if they hired her, out of their pockets, and she's just, their attorney, and she chose to do this case. But I don't know. I thought it was a good choice to start with Chase for the closing statements. And, he was very precise, very educated, very relatable to the jury. He gets up there and goes through the 49 counts. And, I mean, it's an intense thing to go through. And so he's going through and explaining every little thing. And when you're hearing that, you're just like, wow. I mean, it ties it together how you see that they're coming at, the jury has to come at it. And they have to decide Jennifer and Joseph separately. So, I mean, y'all, I'm very curious to see. I feel like I already know what's going to happen to Jennifer. Joseph, I'm very curious to see, because we haven't heard that much, so it's like his charges are kind of like these odd charges, not odd, but just odd in the way that he's like a tag along almost, because Jennifer, everything's been Jennifer. Now there have been stuff like, I mean, there's clearly evidence, if we go on what we've seen, of him turning a blind eye, knowing what was going on, applying icy hot things of this nature, being in the rooms when the beatings were taking place. So, I'm not trying to say that he's innocent by any means, but this is just a very interesting case because they went along with each other through it. So the defense gets up there, and the defense, she was at least even kill through this. There wasn't a level of condescending coming from her or anything like that towards the jury. She has a very difficult time making a human connection with people. I don't care who it is. She was like this with her witnesses. She doesn't make a connection with people. But she gets up there, she says, look, here's the thing, this is a case about anger, about authorities being angry over a child being dead, and someone needs to pay, basically. DFACS had a lot to lose. They were going to be sued, so they all wanted to assign this to Jennifer. And one thing that I was just like, are you really saying this? She's like, the state is trying to say that the evidence is simple and clear, and that these girls are just unlucky, which, and I'm like, that's literally what your defense was based on. And now you're getting up here, because the state did say, the defense, they basically said that about the defense, and she said that about the state. And I'm like, no, the state's not trying to say that at all. They're not trying to say, oh, well, guess these girls are just unlucky. They're unlucky they met Jennifer, Joseph. That's where they're unlucky. But the defense is basically trying to sit here and say, no, they just happen to get these bizarre injuries during Heimlich. And, that's just what it is. And Millie, broken bones here, there, the other. It's just all very unfortunate. She's also trying to say about the witnesses, oh, in hindsight, everyone's come out saying this is abuse, yet no one did anything about it. Now, she's right about that. A lot of people dropped the ball, and a lot of, functions, or what do you call them, DFACS, these type things, dropped the ball along the way. Unfortunately, and I hate that I have to say this, we're used to seeing this at this point. This is nothing new. She's trying to make it out like, oh, well, that never happened, so it just all of a sudden happened in this case. This, unfortunately, goes on all the time, where these, institutions and stuff drop the ball constantly. And I'm sorry, but people were constantly throwing up red flags, and Jennifer either blindsided them or lied to them and kept things going until she couldn't anymore, because you can't really do anything with a dead child. I mean, at that point, the game's up, and that's kind of where this was taken to. Now, she also goes into things of like, well, how's Joseph's supposed to know this, and the only reason he was charged is, to flip on his wife, and da-da-da-da-da. And I mean, sure, we see this a lot. I mean, the state can do that, but they're not trying to sit here and say, it just comes down to this, and that you heard in the 49 counts and stuff, how they were tying him into knowing certain things. If he wasn't there to witness certain things, okay, so maybe he didn't see this happen. You're watching after these girls, and this is going on in your home, and all this other stuff, like they said, oh, him and Jen know everything that's going on with each other, so why is it convenient for him not to know that she's beating these children to death? And Millie's even saying, well, he was in the room, but even if you take Millie's stuff out of the test, out of the evidence, you just can't tell me that he didn't know this stuff. So, I mean, you can't tell me that. So, I just feel like, it is what it is. But again, that's why this case is just so unique, is because of how he's just kind of thrown in there. Now, she gets up there also, and she has the audacity to say that Dr. Sperry wasn't contradicted by another doctor, and that the state didn't have anyone else come up after he testified to refute what he said. And she's like, and if there was that person, they would be up here. Well, it's my understanding that the other medical doctor, she couldn't come back. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, again, this is where some of the stuff that Mole does, I'm like, good, good strategy. I'll give it to you. But it's like, we just heard that happen. So it's very fresh in our memories. Don't try and then come back and tell us we heard stuff differently. It's not the way to go about this. She says there has to be intent to kill in this case, and that to convict, and that's just not there at all. So on and so forth. She wants us to believe Dr. Sperry over the ME, the other lady that already testified, that he hired and spoke so highly of her credentials and her opinion. And I'm just, when you compare, it's apples and oranges. You can't compare him to her. I mean, they're not sitting in the same room of professionalism, at all. And that's why I'm just like, how would you even, again, it's her job. I get that. That's what she has to, she can't get up there and be like, y'all, this is done. My expert was horrible. I get that. So now the state gets back up there and refutes, which basically is like their testimony to what she said. And, they make a comparison. And so Miss Young gets up there. Miss Young is very, she opened this trial as she came in with a bang, and she went out with a bang. And, some people I can tell in the comment sections and stuff like that, like, people either love her or they don't. And some people feel like she's too emotional and things like that. And I think that I think one thing that she does well is she speaks to the outrage that people feel. She speaks to that. She voices that. And I can understand if some people don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? They just wanted to be even kill like Chase. I get it. For me, I felt like I was rooting her along. I was like, come on, girl. Because some of the things she just said, I was just like, yes. Because there is, I think we all, I'll speak for myself, I'm sorry. There's this angry part in me, you know what I mean? That's just like, I'm angry that this happened to these children. I'm angry that, the way the trial went. I'm angry that, the defense kind of acted the way that they did at times. And, so that outrage, I kind of feel like, okay, I get it. So anyway, she gets up there, she compares the Rosenbaums to, I can't remember their name, but they're the couple that kept the kids hostage for 12 years, and kind of uses that like as a little example. And it was interesting to see, like, hey, look, this went on for 12 years with these people. She's like, you're going to be held accountable for this. We're not going to let you slide the way DFACS did, and so on and so forth. And, and talking about the 49 charges, she's like, we charge them for every single thing that they did to those kids. She uses the word distasteful, disgraceful numerous times in relation to the defense. She brings up, she basically just goes down through a lot of the things. A lot of the stuff you've heard me say, like talking just my opinion stuff, she's going down this list, so other people are thinking it. And like another thing that she's talking about is the aspect of bringing people in there, and we're going to kind of end this note, is how are you going to bring your witnesses in here and they don't even know all the evidence? I mean, and and it's true. We saw this happen numerous times. The defense's witnesses were so easy to tear apart their testimony because it was built on shaky ground. So many of them didn't even know all the evidence, and they come in there and they're blindsided by this. And it's obvious that no one said anything to them, or like, Summer, we get in there and it's obvious someone's been in her ear telling her stuff. She's up there just lying through her teeth, can't even do it well. I mean, in my opinion, bordering on risking her own self going to jail. She's lying so bad. And so you see this cast of characters. Dr. Sperry, okay, so we got paid $7,500. We can even get past that, kind of, to the fact of he's a horrible witness on the stand. He's blubbering around, doesn't want to say anything, is flipping on this, flabbing on that. It's just, it's a circus, and it's a joke. And so I felt like the Miss Young is bringing that to light and saying, no, what is it? What have we just watched, y'all? Use common sense. Look at this and explaining it in that context. So, and when she said, why do we have three prosecutors up here? Because each of us had to work on this to keep up with all the lies. See, and that's the thing. When all these inconsistencies take place, and they're very obvious, and each person's doing that because a lot of this stuff was built on not non-truths, or the, twisting of truths. And so they're able to get up there and just rip it apart. And again, I just feel like this is probably going to make a good case study at some point, because at some point, if they sit there and watch this, the families and all this stuff, I mean, I just want to say, I would love to know their opinions on watching how this all went down. My endless bottle of water. And so let's go ahead and just tie it up on that end, because again, I could just sit here and keep going on and on and on and on about that. I enjoyed the closings. I'm glad we're there. I could not take any more of these defense witnesses. I mean, it turned into a cartoon, and Summer was just the end of the line with it. I was like, I am just done with this. So when they said we're going to rest, I was like, oh, praise Jesus. Thank you. So that's that. We're waiting until Monday to see what comes back up. So anyways, I hope everybody's doing well. Don't forget, if you want to know when my videos come on, to hit the bell. And there's a bunch of links down there to check out if you want to listen to my podcast or follow me on social media. It's all down there. I hope you'll have a great night, evening, weekend, and I shall talk to you soon. Thanks for hanging out with me. Bye.